Yeah, what's going on? Welcome to the Degenerate Gamblers. It's Thursday. It's Thursday. We're going into the weekend right now. We're just gonna run the gauntlet, baby. Look at this shirt I got on. I'm wearing this shirt for a reason. You've been following MLB baseball, baby. Playoffs. Where I think what we do last night. We're up. I think we did 8 units last night because we've been parlaying the Yankees and the Red Sox. Common sense every night because Toronto's choking. Yankees are tied for first. And this shirt, guys, I'm going to say it's about 30 years old. I think my first wife got me this shirt, my ex wife. That's how long ago. I've been divorced like 20 years. I don't know. But yeah, this is a lucky shirt. It's been through hell. I had some chick try to rip it off me one night. She got part of it, but it's still alive. And we have the Yankees right now going into tonight, finishing up with the White Sox tonight, then the Orioles. Good chance to win the division. But we've been hammering baseball. Last night was one of the best nights we've had in a long time. Anyway, forget baseball. We'll get into that. If you want baseball picks, join the Degenerate Gamblers. Go to WHOP.com. Sign up, $24.99 a month. Are you kidding me? With football, you have to. Don't bet an NFL game without listening to our analysts. We have Mehul Patel. I think he's one of the best in the country. He has a system that he uses. It's worked for the last few years. In college football, what can I say? I did 10 units last week. I was plus 10 units. Steve Valente, our other analyst, he kicked my ass. He was plus 13 units. But yeah, last weekend we had Texas Tech. We had a 4-game tease with South Florida, Oregon, Auburn, Nebraska. We had Army, big time. We had University of Texas, North Texas against Army big time because I got some information right before the game. If you are a member, you were all over UNT last week. And I'll give you a little statistic on Army this year, guys, before I give you a pick tonight. Army's had 3 games. We have covered on all 3 of them. We started off, we had Tarleton State against Army. We nailed that. Army goes to Kansas State. We had Army. We had the money line that game. They were plus 17.5. We had the money line. We had Army. And then last week we had University of North Texas at home. We had them. Even though Army came back, made a hell of a game in overtime, we had UNT they covered. And tonight they have a little tough game. We go down to East Carolina. I'll give you a play on that before we end this pod. I'll give you a play on that because I love that game. Here's another statistic. And if you're a member of the Degenerate Gamblers, you know this because we're 4 for 4 in max bets this year. Yeah, 4 for 4. Remember last week, if you were listening, I talked about the Georgia Southern game, talked about that game at home, and I said I have a huge play on it. We went max bet. We bet Georgia Southern over University of Maine. I made a few comments on that. Yeah, that was a max bet. We juiced Georgia Southern, and they heated up in the last 2 quarters and covered. We finished up the night last week with Miami and Colorado as a little parlay, 5-unit play. They both covered fairly easily. And then we had some massive horse racing in Pennsylvania. We have some again this week. I'll go over that Friday because we'll be hitting Aqueduct this weekend in New York State, in New York. Listen, let's get into college football. Let's do it right now. I love this shirt, man. I think the shirt has another 5 years in it. I'm definitely going to wear this through the playoffs. Probably wear it to Yankee Stadium this weekend. I got to go see the Orioles play. Anyway, let's get into tonight. One game. You have Army going to East Carolina, +4. Okay, +4. I was actually at the East Carolina game last year at Michie Stadium at West Point, Highland Falls, New York. Army was loaded last year. They have some problems. Quarterback still out, injured, bad knee. This backup's playing pretty solid. They have a lot of questionables, a lot of injuries. And the line's +4. Should it be higher? I might think they would be getting 6, maybe 6.5. Give you a quick statistic here, people. Army's first game against Tarleton, they didn't cover. Army's second game against Kansas State, they covered. Army's third game against UNT, North Texas, they didn't cover. They're going down to East Carolina tonight, +4. I think they win this game. You heard it. I think Army wins this game. You want me to say with the injuries? All beat. Yes, this is what they do. You take Jeff Monk and put him up against the wall. And what he's better at than anybody in the country is clock management. They're going to run this triple option. They're going to run clock. They're going to manage clock. They're going to keep this probably a fairly low scoring game. I think they cover the 4. I'll take Army +4. And I'll take them on the money line here. So you just heard it. Okay, Army's going to cover tonight. Have a good feeling about this one. Let's get into a few other games. That's the Thursday night game. That's tonight. You might be thinking, what about NFL? NFL's coming in about 30 minutes when I bring on the genius Mehul Patel. He's going to talk about his system. That's about 30 minutes. We're going nuts today. We're going college football right into the NFL. We'll do horse racing tomorrow because it's too much. We're dropping just too much knowledge. So we'll get in the NFL a little bit, but let's stick right with. Now look at that. I already put a wild man parlay in, guys. I already put in a wild man parlay. I haven't put it on the Discord yet. What's the Discord? That's why you got to join. You got to join the Degenerate Gamblers because we have a Discord with tons of people out all over the country, dropping different types of knowledge. Who's hurt, who's not, what's going on in Michigan, what's going on in Wisconsin, what's going on in Texas, North Carolina, Georgia. We got guys all over the place on this Discord. And I will drop a wild man parlay, and I do it every week. We hit one last year, plus 30,000. And everybody who's on the Discord gets $50. Doesn't matter. If it hits, we get $50. I use alt spreads. I got one already lined up, ready to go. And I'll probably start it with tomorrow's game, Florida State, Virginia. Florida State, Virginia. Florida State is -6.5 going into an average Virginia team. They're beating up on a few average teams. You saw what Florida State did first week in Alabama. You look at this game and you say, Florida State's going to just roll Virginia. They're going to roll them. There's a problem right here. There's a problem. Problem is, if you watch Florida State play Virginia the last 30 years, they have rolled Virginia. Not at nighttime, not on a Friday night. That's the problem. Problem is, this is a Friday night game. Florida State's going into Virginia. This is the biggest game of the year for Virginia. They're going to do everything they can to keep this thing close. What will I do here? I'll probably pump this up to +7.5 and take the home dog. Yeah, I'll take the Cavaliers at home tonight. Florida State should win. They kind of have to win to keep that number 6 ranking or even go to 5. But this is a game. This is a conference game at night under the lights in Virginia. You can see a fumble happening early, something weird, block punt. Virginia goes up 7-0, 10-7 at the half. This could be a dogfight. I don't like this line. Vegas knows something. This line's 6.5. This line should be 10, 10.5, 11, 12. It's 6.5. Something smells in Charlottesburg. I'll take the home dog. We will use this in the Wild Man. And then at 9 o'clock, we got another game. Texas Christian, TCU, number 24 in the country, goes to Arizona State. They're playing the Sun Devils. Sun Devils are -2.5 at home. This is a must win for Arizona State. They have to win. They don't win, they're done. I don't love this game, but again, probably would get this to even. Maybe in the Wild Man parlay, I'll get Arizona State to +3.5. Take the home dog. Take the home favorite. I'm sorry, -2.5. I don't love this game. Another game I do like a little bit more is the 10:30 game where Houston goes to Oregon State. Oregon State actually pushed that spread last week against Oregon. Oregon State is home +13.5. they've hung in a couple games. This team is not good. I mean, Houston gets going here and scores a few early. This could get rough. I can see taking this line down in the wild man parlay to -6.5 and taking Houston on the road. I think they do win this game. Let's get into Saturday. And again, you're going to hear me talk about one or two games that I absolutely love. And I'm not going to give it to you. You got to join. It's $24.99. Join for 1 month. $24.99. Join for 1 month. You don't like it, leave. Because we've absolutely crushed the last couple years with college football and college basketball. Now I have one of the best analysts in the country on for NFL. I have Frank Lyons doing horse racing. We're growing this baby. We are growing. But Saturday, there's a lot of good games. This is one of the best money-making weekends that I can remember. There's a few games I love. Remember, we're 4-0 with max bets. Our biggest bets, we are 4-0. We had Alabama, had Georgia Southern last week, had Army the first week. Tarleton State, I should say. Tarleton State, we had the first week. Again, Army. We've picked that game all 3 weeks. We had Tarleton State the first week. We had Army upset in Kansas State the second week. We had University of North Texas the third week. Tonight, I have Army going down to East Carolina and covering that 4 points. I do. I think they do. All right, so let's get into it here. This is an interesting game. You got South Alabama, the Jaguars, Saturday at noon, kicking off against North Texas, who just beat Army in overtime. North Texas is -12.5. I like the dog here. I like South Alabama. I think they're coming off a big win at Army, overtime win. South Alabama comes in, keeps this thing close. That's an interesting game. Here's a game, guys. I'm not going to talk about it. Notre Dame goes to Arkansas, and everybody and their mother's like, Howie, what do you like this game? Come on, telling you, join. Because this is going to be a big bet. This is a big bet. You got Notre Dame going to Arkansas, -4.5. Some would say it's a must-win for Notre Dame. I know a little bit about this game, know about their defenses, know what got a good play on the over-under, got a good play on the game. Join and we'll get this could be a max bet. I'm not giving out this game, but I love a side in this game. Notre Dame going against middle to upper rated SEC team, middle. Oh, I love this game. Join the Degenerate Gamblers. Go to at Howie Dewey on YouTube. Go to WHOP.com. Join the Degenerate Gamblers. It's easy. Premium, $24.99 a month. Another interesting game, University of Central Florida goes to Kansas State. Kansas State hasn't shown much this year. Lost to Iowa State opening game, lost to Army. At home, -6.5. Can they turn things around? I don't know. I don't like that game. USC going to Illinois. Illinois coming off that beatdown last week. I liked Illinois last week in the end. I thought that would be a close game. I thought they were the real deal. They're not. They got smacked. They quit. They looked horrendous. They're +6.5 at home against USC, who has NFL players. Let's just say it. Got a couple receivers who are nasty, good quarterback, good defense. This could be rough for Illinois. Illinois is out of their league. It's going to be rough. I'll probably take USC -6.5. I won't even alt spread it. I like that line. Georgia Tech, 16 in the country, going to Wake Forest, -13.5. Georgia Tech's good. Haynes, one of the best quarterbacks in the country. We've had Georgia Tech a couple times this year. We had them opening weekend. -13.5. I don't know if this could be closer than that, but I think Tech wins this game. This game's going to be in the wild man parlay. Yes, it is. Louisville, -4.5 going to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh showed brilliance earlier, then played like shit against West Virginia, who's terrible. We'll get into that game on the Discord. If you join, we'll talk about it. Here's a game I like. Rutgers, +4.5 going to Minnesota. Rutgers looked great last week until the fourth quarter. Just couldn't close the deal. Lost a close one. Now they go to Minnesota, +4.5. This is the kind of game that Rutgers wins. They win on the road, plus 4.5. This is the first time in years they actually have a good offense. This quarterback's solid, couple decent receivers. They're playing Minnesota, solid team. Minnesota's minus 4.5 at home. I'm all over Rutgers this game. I just gave you one. Gave you another one. I gave you Army. I just gave you Rutgers. I like Rutgers this game. We got Utah State at Vanderbilt. We got a couple MAC games. Saturday, 1:30. Georgia Southern, who we nailed as a max bet last week at Maine, goes to James Madison. James Madison, they're a legit program now. They are a good program. Every single year, they're up and running, just smacking teams. Minus 17.5 against Georgia Southern. Minus 17.5. I have a play in this game. I have a play that I really like. Let's just leave it at that. Let's go to Indiana and Iowa. Indiana coming off that humongous blowout. Now they play at Iowa. Iowa is only plus 7.5. They look good against Iowa State. Wouldn't you think this line would be higher? Maybe 10.5, 11, 12. Indiana is minus 7.5. You have to look at this game right now and say, does Vegas know something? And they do. Iowa's going to slow this game down. Good defense, maybe make a turnover or two, and probably keep this within a touchdown. This is going to be close. Look at that 7.5. I'll probably lean towards Iowa, the home dog. Utah plus 12.5 at West Virginia. Utah coming up that just spanking last week against Texas Tech, which we had a 5-unit bet on Texas Tech. Texas Tech has been one of my favorite teams of the year. Look into it, how much money they have spent in that program. I have a tough time looking at this shirt right now. What can you do, though? I got to wear this. 30 years old. My ex-wife got me this a long time ago. Utah going into West Virginia. Coming off that just devastating loss, they go into West Virginia. They probably roll them. West Virginia's not very good. They got up for the Pitt game. They don't have very good players. They don't quite have the payroll Utah has. They're in trouble. San Diego State going in Northern Illinois. I love Northern Illinois coming off that big loss last week. I like them at home. I like the MAC against a San Diego State. They're going to knock their heads in. We keep going. We got Ohio State. Ohio State goes to Washington. That line is only 8.5. Only 8.5. Number one team in the country. I've got to look into that. I got to get some information on that game. It's interesting. Then we get to perhaps the biggest game of the weekend, and that's LSU going at Ole Miss. We know the deal. The linebacker from LSU is plugging Lane Kiffin's going out with Lane Kiffin's daughter, dating her, and she let the whole world know. LSU was plus 1.5 at Ole Miss. LSU is number 4 in the country. Ole Miss is 14 in the country. LSU's got to win. They have to win. Do they have better players than Ole Miss? I think so. I think on both sides of the ball. I kind of like the dog there a little bit. California goes to BC. California looked good week 2, looked terrible last week. Go to BC. BC's minus 6.5. I don't know. We'll look into that one. Another game I do like here, Saturday 3:30. Auburn goes to Texas A&M, plays the Aggies. Aggies are minus 6.5 at home. Auburn has good players. That game was close last week. That game was very close last week. Could have gone either way. We know the deal with Oklahoma now. What's going to happen? QB's out for like a month. They have problems. They have issues now. Auburn goes into Texas A&M. This could be a very good game. This is going to tell us how good is Texas A&M, because Auburn is solid. Good quarterback, very good running backs. Another game, this is kind of moneymaker right here. UCLA, who has just fallen apart. No coach, players leaving. They go to Northwestern, who's not great, but they're playing at Northwestern. They're playing in Chicago. Let's look at the weather tomorrow. Northwestern's minus 6.5. I like them on the money line big time. Minus 230. I mean, they really would have to play poorly to lose to UCLA, which is one of the worst programs in the country. They really are. Terrible. We keep going. We got Navy Rice. I'll have a play on that game. um, Hawaii plays at Air Force. I'll probably have a small play on that game. Not much. Tennessee -7.5 going to Mississippi State. That's a game you got to look at. Coming off of that tight loss to Georgia where they probably should have won. Field goal kickers. Go to Mississippi State. Decent. Tennessee's going to show up for that one. And then the team that we've made money on this year. This is where we make money on the Degenerate Gamblers. Teams you just don't hear of. Max bet Georgia Southern last week. Middle Tennessee goes to Kennesaw State at 6 o'clock Saturday. The yellow and black, -7.5. This is a money-making game. I'm telling you. Get the line down to 6.5. Kennesaw State at home. They have players. They do have players. It's a few other games going into the evening. We have Virginia Tech going to NC State. Virginia Tech again. What a program's just fallen. Going to NC State plus 10.5. They're in trouble. They're just falling apart. Of course, the other game you could say this is the game of the week. Oh, this is the one. It's not LSU at Mississippi. It's Oregon at Penn State. Oh gosh. Oh, I love this game. Everyone's going to talk about the whiteout. The whiteout at Penn State. Yeah, you're playing a real team now. Oregon is legit. Arguably, the top team in the country. I've heard a lot of people say that. They are loaded. And they're going into Penn State. Penn State is going to have to play the perfect game to win this. They're -3.5. You know where I'm leaning, guys. You know where I'm leaning on this. Oh, God. And another big game. Alabama, one loss to Florida State, goes to Georgia. Georgia is -2.5 at home. These are just battle of the heavyweights in the SEC. I don't like this game. Sometimes you got to look at a great game and you got to sit back and just not put a penny on it. And this is one of them. Alabama's got one of their best running backs healthy. He's back. A couple defensive players are healthy. Georgia, it's tough to tell. They came back and beat Tennessee, but it just doesn't seem like the Georgia offensive pass or defense. They're -2.5 at home. I'm not touching this game. I'm not touching it. There. I don't bet every game. I hate that game as far as betting it. It's going to be an awesome game to watch. I mean, I'll sit back and watch that game and I'll learn a lot. I'll sit back and watch and learn and see how these teams perform under pressure. 3rd down and 8, 3rd and 9. Let's see. Another big game right here. Appalachian State goes to Boise State. Boise State's -16.5. Watch this game, people. This is a game that jumps out at me a little bit. Appalachian State is solid. Boise State, I don't know if you remember, they went down to South Florida opening week and just got thrashed. They got worked. They got dragged through the swamp. Now they play Appalachian State, who is a solid team. Very good team. That could be a close game. I think it probably will be. Look at this line. UMass goes to Missouri, -44.5. Missouri, they'll probably cover that. Kentucky, South Carolina, 5.5. Be a close game. BYU, -6.5 at Colorado. We'll wait for a little info on that game. Vanderbilt. Let's talk about Vandy a little bit here. Vanderbilt has one of the best quarterbacks in the country. And it seems like this guy, he shows up when he has to. I mean, whether they're playing a team that's not great or a team that's loaded, this guy just seems to show up and get it done. They're playing Utah State. I talked about that a little bit. Utah State's coming in +22.5. I'll tell you what, I've watched Vanderbilt the last couple of years. They're -22.5. They seem to play well enough to get the job done, but They don't always cover. This looks like one of these games they may not cover. It's minus 22.5. It's a weird little spread. It's not 21. It's not 21.5, 22.5. This is one that I would probably get to 23.5, just by a point and take the underdog. That's what I would probably do in that situation. Listen, gone over a bunch of games right here. Guys, go to Whop.com. Join the Degenerate Gamblers. $24.99 a month. You're on our Discord. You get every single play. We'll tell you why we like a team, why we don't. But you got to join. You can't sit back. You got to join. If you're betting college football, if you're betting pro football, the public is usually wrong. You know, when you see a team like Florida State going into Virginia, Joe Public is going to be all over Florida State tonight. I've watched Virginia over the past, 30 years. This is the worst team to play in Charlottesville at home under the lights. They're not that bad. 7.5 worries me. It really does. This game's going to be interesting. I'm telling you right now, I don't want to say upset, but this is one you got to sprinkle a little bit on the money line. You got to take Virginia a little bit on the money line. Let's take a look at it here. The money line is plus 202. Should be higher. It's plus 202. You got to remember something. Listen closely. If you take Virginia, let's say you buy a point, and you take Virginia at plus 7.5. I'm going to tell you right now. Let's say you take them at plus 7.5. It's only minus 130. It's only minus 130. Take it 7.5. Let's say they go up 7-0 or 10-3. Guys, then you can turn around. You can take Florida State plus 1.5, plus 2.5, plus 3.5, and you can try to middle it. It's called a hedge. It's all we do on the Degenerate Gamblers Discord. We hedge. We'll take an underdog like Virginia. If they go up 7 or 10. Then we'll turn around. We'll bet Florida State live. Then you sit back. Can't lose. Can't lose. You can break even. You can't lose if you got bet both teams, but you can middle. Let's say Florida State wins by 1 or loses by 2. Then you hit both sides. That's what we do. That's why you got to join. That's college football this weekend, guys. We'll be very in-depth. We will be in-depth on the Discord. Go to whop.com. Join. $24.99 a month. Go to How We Do on YouTube. Join. Let's go. Let's bang. We got Horse Racing Friday. Now I got the legend coming on. We're talking NFL. Let's go right into pro football. Let's do it. We got the NFL this weekend, and I got the man with the plan, the guy with the system. We've been banking regularly. What's up, Mehu? I got Mehu Patel on. We are going into the NFL. We just went over college football. This is a wild weekend coming up. Did you see what we did in baseball last night?
Yeah, man. I was I was watching on Discord.
That was wild. I mean, last night we did. I think we were like plus 8 units. We're just this shirt that I got on. I just explained. This shirt's 31 years old. My ex-wife got me this back in like the late 90s.
And it's holding up. That's high quality.
Dude, I had a girl try to rip it off one night.
Well, that's great. 31 years. So, dude, that 5-year-old who made that is 36 years old now.
That's right. That little kid in Vietnam who put this shirt together, man. I want to shout out for you.
His kids are now doing the same thing, man. They may have made this. I don't know. This could be generational here.
They made my Nikes. But shout out to you, Ming Lee. Thank you so much. This shirt is holding up well. And we're going into pro football right now. Let's talk a little bit about last week, because last week
was crazy.
I talked to buddies all over the country about last week, and bettors for the most part last week took a beat down. They took a beating. Last week was a tough tough week.
It's tough. It was a tough week. I was at 500 going into that Lions game, and that one, David Montgomery just did not want to slide to end the game, and that killed our under. But there is one thing I have to admit. I found a flaw in the model that I have been using, right, where I rank the offensive lines, and basically I look at it as a fight for the line of scrimmage. I will admit when I have made an error. The error I have made is not including the new kickoff rule, which is really having a big impact on where you're starting on the field.
You're not
and
kidding.
So you got to now. So now I am tracking the success rate of kickers getting it into the landing zone, because there are some kickers who are really struggling to do that. You saw it in the Ravens-Lions game, and you have a team start at the 40. They got to get one first down, and they're basically getting 3 points. And so I got to take a look at what the percentage of scoring drives there are once you start at the 40 off of a kickoff. I'll have that today. But that is something that I did not incorporate. And the reality is I didn't have any historic data. And right now we only have 3 weeks. But I am going to layer it in.
I don't like the rule. It seems like every damn team is starting from the 40. It's like, come on.
I think it's too punitive. 40-yard line because you didn't get the ball in the landing zone. What I don't like about it is whether it's off of a punt, a field goal, whatever, kickers are trained to kick the ball as far as they can.
Right.
And as accurately as you can. And now you're like, oh, no, we want you to go up there and be like a golfer.
Yeah. I don't like it.
And
I don't like it.
I don't like it, but we have to incorporate it into the bets we make, because that was why the game went over.
I mean, I had the Lions plus 7.5. I had the under 58.5, and it was under. The game was under. I had a small parlay on it, but like you say, they didn't kneel it. They could have. They could have,
but even before that, 3 possessions started on the 40.
But Baltimore's defense just got bitch slapped by the Lions' offensive line. Is one of the best offensive lines in football. They manhandled them. They
were in that game. I will say in that game, almost every rushing play, they were getting 6, 7, 8 yards, and then sometimes they were ripping off 20s, but they were never getting stuffed at the line. Look, their best defensive lineman was out. Arguably, their best linebacker in Van Noy was out. All of that adds up. That was bad. It was still they just couldn't stop them run. The Lions coming into that game, I didn't have their offensive line ranked that high because they hadn't played that well. That was by far their best game. But I got that one wrong. And the other one I got wrong was the Falcons.
Me too.
Yeah, you know what? Michael Penix, I know he hasn't even played 10 games yet. So, the jury's still out on him. And I just didn't think he would have that inaccurate of a game. His passes were bad. The Falcons were in that game for a while. They missed 2 field goals, and then it was 13-0. And then he threw one of the worst pick six of the weekend, if not the worst one. I mean, the Cam Ward one was probably worse. But that was a terrible throw inside his own 20.
Yeah, he didn't play well. You take those 1 o'clock games on. You take the 1 o'clock games on Sunday. I was down 6 units going into 4 o'clock. Then I drilled this. I had the Chargers, Seahawks, Chiefs plus 117. I had 5 units on it. Bam, that got me back to about even. I went really light on the Lions in the under 2 units. So for comparatively to a lot of my handicapper friends across the country, those 4 o'clock games really helped me. I came back strong. It wasn't a bad weekend.
Yeah, no,
Look, and I gave out the lock last week. I said, you want the lock of the week? Bet against the Jets. Bet against the Jets. Take the Tampa Bay money line. Just bet against the Jets. And Jets block a kick. They score. Minute to go. And my buddy called me. He said, Tampa's got us right where they want us. We have no chance.
No, I
Tampa
mean,
picked out.
I felt like they would. I watched that game in replay. I didn't watch it live, and you know, it was a wild. That was a wild game. It really was a wild game.
Yeah. But I'll tell you what.
The ones that I had the highest conviction and I put the most on was the Green Bay Cleveland under and the under for Houston and Jacksonville. Those two hit, and that let me break even.
The unders were solid. Well, I'll tell you what. I did this futures. One of my futures bet. Along with betting, I bet Georgia to win the national championship in college football. But one of my futures bets, I took the Jets under 6.5 wins this year. I'm feeling good about that. I'm feeling really good about the Jets not winning 6 games.
I mean, 6.
What about
1-3?
Can they win? Can they win 1? I don't know. I don't
mean,
know.
They gotta go 7-7 now. They're not going 7-7.
Oh man, I'll tell you, that was to me, and I said it preseason. I said that is the lock of the year, the Jets under 6.5. So
yeah, I mean now they gotta go. Yeah, they're gonna have some real trouble. They don't do anything all that well. But yeah, look, last week was wild. A lot of special teams. Scores. It seemed like every game had a punt return, kick return, block punt, block field goal.
And like you said it. The kickoffs last week, it felt like every single kickoff they were returning back to the 50. Like
look, it's this landing zone. You have to take this into consideration now because the field positions are better. I mean, they really are. Getting the ball at the 40 is like getting a turnover. I mean,
it is.
That used to take 2 first downs to get to the 40. And, now because the ball, I mean, and if you go into the end zone, it's 35-yard line, which is still like a very good field position. Like even if you get 3, it's one of the rule changes. I don't like it, and we really got to take this in consideration when looking at over/unders, because it's got to be statistically a huge impact on these over/unders. It is.
We're seeing over/unders higher than they've ever been. I mean, across.
Yeah, I mean, they did it to get scoring up. Obviously, I mean, I get the safety part, but last year was fine. This idea that you got to get in this landing zone. I was like, that's crazy. I was like, 40-yard line. That they got to come up with something else, but we're gonna have to live with it for this year. This is almost like that couple years with the NBA brought in the 3-point line. It was terrible.
Yeah, then they moved it out. Then they moved
it back out because it's like this is awful.
And now teams take too many threes.
Well, let's put it this way: if an NFC or AFC championship game or the Super Bowl is decided because a ball doesn't go in the freaking landing zone, they are going to look at this again.
Yeah, they have to.
Because could you imagine if that was in a Super Bowl and there's, you're up 6 or you're up 2 and there's a minute 1 left on the clock. They have no more timeouts. Or let's say there's 27 seconds left and you have no timeouts and your kicker can't get it in the landing zone. They're now put at the 40. And if you go conservatively and you kick into the end zone, they're at the 35. They got to get 20 yards in today's, world of being able to hit 60-yard field goals.
Yeah. So let's get going. Let's get going on. Start with tonight's game because I do have a plan tonight. So let's bring in the other analyst. He's coming back from the bathroom. He looks like he's ready to go. He lost 50 pounds. Steve Valente, what's going on, big guy?
Drop it like it's hot, Howie.
That's what you got to do.
Hey,
That's what
what's
it's
going
all
on,
about.
Steve?
That's what it's all about. Steve will have some plays tonight on the Discord on college football. Look, if you want to sign up, join Whop.com. Come on, $24.99 a month. You're getting our analysts on NFL, on college football. We have major horse racing Saturday at Aqueduct. Huge day.
Oh, what happened? Your old lady take a little strangle?
No. This is my shirt. It's from my ex-wife. This is 30 years old.
Okay.
Ex-wife. And I had it on getting ready to go into a hot tub with a couple, what do you call them, dancers in Atlanta. And one of them grabbed it and ripped it a little, but it's still going.
Okay.
And it's good luck because the Yankees are in first place.
First place, you're welcome. You're welcome.
And you saw last night what we did on the Discord. You saw what we do, 8 units, and we hit a plus 200 and change parlay. All we did was bet Boston and the Yankees. Boston, and we've been betting Boston and the Yankees the last 2 nights, and they've been hitting. We had the Guardians plus whatever. Actually, they were minus 130 and change. But yeah, I'm betting Boston and the Yankees again tonight. I'm betting them again tonight because that's the way it is. But look, forget all that. Let's get into the big game tonight, 8:00. We have the Seahawks and the Cardinals. I have one play on the game. What do you like, Mehul?
Tonight, I like the Seahawks. I like the spread is fine at 1.5. They're on the road. I get it, and it's divisional. But I would, you could play it safe, just take the money line. But it's hard for me to see my way to taking the Cardinals, who, really haven't played that well. But the Seahawks defense is good. They're very tough against the run. And there is no James Conner. He's done for the season.
Yeah.
You probably want – I'm going to double-check if Julian Love and Witherspoon are playing in the secondary for Seattle. If they are, this is going to be a very tough game for the Cardinals because Seahawks secondary is very good. It's very good. Cardinals wide receivers are not very good. And
what's going on with Marvin Harrison? He couldn't.
He bulked up. He just doesn't get separation. The problem with Marvin Harrison is he doesn't get separation. He's dropped a lot of passes. He dropped an easy big chunk gain against the Niners, maybe 30, 40-yard gain, dropped it. There's nobody around him. He just
touchdown.
He's struggling, and maybe it's in his head or whatever, but he doesn't get separation, and he's not the type of wide receiver you can use on every. He's not Jackson Smith and Jigba, who happens to be not that fast, but because he's such a dynamic route runner and he's physically strong and has great hands, they throw him the ball constantly. He's on pace for 1,800 yards, and he's. Is Sam Darnold that much better than Kyler Murray? Probably not. Kyler Murray, he's a frustrating player to watch because he's got all the skills and can scramble, but they just don't make big plays. So I like Seattle. If Seattle's got their defense, I think that's a good play. And Will Johnson, I don't think is going to be playing for the Cardinals. And he's a big part of that secondary, even though he's a rookie. He was really playing well.
I was surprised that the line was as low as it was. I know it's a home game for the Cardinals, but to me, I just really feel that Seattle's a much more complete team right now, and they have better players on both sides of the ball, especially, like you said, losing Connor.
Yeah, and they've had a tougher schedule. Both wins for Arizona are against the Saints and the Panthers, right? So they haven't necessarily gone out and beat the best teams. And then they lost to Mac Jones and the Niners without Kittle.
Purdy, without Kittle, without Bosa.
Yeah, it's they're not the same team without those guys, and they lost. And so I like Seattle. I'm probably not going to go big on this one because I like some Sunday games better, but 1 or 2 units for sure I feel pretty good about Seattle. put that up on the Discord later today for our final, allocation.
I like what you said, Mayhew, because it just reinforces my bet on this game. The Cardinals are in trouble. Without James Conner, they can't run the ball. They're not passing the ball well. The Seahawks, good defense. Cardinals have a decent defense. I mean, but the Seahawks, are they a great offense? Not really. I love the under. I think the final score of this game, you might see 21-10, 21. You might see a very low scoring game.
You good?
I like the.
You good? I like. Look, I mean, I like the under too. Kubiak, the head coach over there, he likes running the ball. So if they get up and Charbonnet's playing as well, they've got two running backs. They'll just pound this thing, and I don't think the Cardinals have an offense that's really capable of scoring a lot of points. It just doesn't look like it. I mean, their whole offense revolves around Trey McBride, and he's great, but he's not going to have explosive plays. So I like the under as well.
Yeah. So that's it. I mean, that's pretty good in-depth analysis. Thursday night game. And it'll be an interesting game. I mean, is it a great matchup? Not really. But, as far as making money, I don't know. I really do like the under. 43.5, not a high number. I can see him getting a 36, 37. And the reason I like the under too, let's say if this is a low-scoring first quarter or first half game, and all of a sudden you see that live over-under go to 36, 37, bam! We take the over and we try to middle it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we do. That's what we do on the Degenerate Gamblers. Join the Discord. Go to whop.com. Join. Go to How We Do We on YouTube. Join up. Because that's what we do live, guys. If I take the under and all of a sudden at halftime that over-under is now 35.5, bam! We jump on the over.
You know what? I messed up, guys, last weekend. That Cowboy Bears game, I don't know if you mentioned it, but I had the over, and I'm sitting waiting. At halftime, I probably should have taken the under. It probably was 65, close to 70 at that point. I mean,
it was.
Yeah,
I don't know what the number was, but those are times where it's like, geez, I'm going to middle this. I'm going to hit both.
Yeah. And let's say you don't. You know what? You break even. You don't.
At
lose
least
money.
I hit one.
Yeah.
But I hit none.
Yeah, you lock in and.
Mayhul and I have talked about it over and over, especially in basketball. It's live
basketball. You have to.
It's a game changer.
Basketball, you don't. Yeah. You have to. You have to. I would say if you want to be successful at basketball, you have to probably put 3 to 4 positions down during a single game, and you'll
happen, especially the NBA.
You don't.
So we get into Sunday. And let's start right off because this is a wild Sunday. Where are we going? To Ireland is the game? Vikings Steelers? Is it Ireland or England?
Hold on, I'll tell you in a second.
I don't know.
Does it matter? Does it really matter?
Dublin.
Dublin. Yeah, somewhere over the pond. Where these guys are all going to show up pissed drunk and just yell and scream, not know what the hell's going on. But you got the Vikings Steelers. And this is actually going to be a good game because everyone's going to see Aaron Rodgers has looked pretty good so far.
He has. I mean, those 2 touchdown passes against the Patriots, I have to say.
Yeah. Oh, what about the Jets? The 4 against the Jets? Let's just call it what it is. When you take a Geno Smith, a Sam Darnold, and Aaron Rodgers, and when the Jets release them, they become Hall of Famers. That's just what it is. You become a great all-around player once you leave the Jets.
Well, I don't think that's going to happen to Zach Wilson.
Well, I mean, who knows? Who knows?
No, sir.
Yeah, Zach Wilson sucked. But they did draft him number 1, so that was a smart move.
I mean, Mark Sanchez is a broadcaster now, so it worked out for him.
Yeah, absolutely. After the ass fumble, his career took off. But let's look at the Vikings, Steelers. I mean, you got Vikings minus 2.5. Over-under is a low 40.5. Give a lot of credit to these defenses. What do you think, Mehul?
I mean, this is a very tough game.
I don't like the game. Yeah,
I don't. I think you have a 10 a.m. start probably if it's over the pond. But these guys are used to that. What I don't like about this game, if you watch the Steelers Patriots games, the Patriots had 5 turnovers, 5, and the Steelers only got 21 points. And I would say 14 of those 21 points was because Aaron Rodgers threw perfect over-the-shoulder passes to the pylon and great catch. Everything was perfect on that, and that was against the New England Patriots. So I'm not sold on the Steelers' offense. I don't really actually think they can put up a lot of points. When you get 5 turnovers and you only get 21 points, not great.
No,
not great. And a lot of times the Patriots were able to stuff them. And some of these turnovers were, pretty deep into New England territory to midfield. So while they won that game, I'm still just not that impressed with the Steelers offense. Now, granted, the Vikings have this QB issue, but,
he didn't look that bad.
No, and Jordan Mason is a very good running back. He is a very good running back. The Steelers struggled the first 2 weeks against the run pretty badly.
Yeah, the Jets ran it up on them.
Yeah, and then the next week they got run over too. So I don't know. If I would lean towards the Vikings on this. I just think that the Steelers they're just an average team, and that offense to me is still below average.
All right, well let's get to 1:00, and the one game we're not going to give you any information on is the Buffalo Bills playing at home with the Saints, because we do have a play on that.
Yep.
And we'll give it to you if you join the Discord, $24.99 a month. Go to whop.com, sign up, because there's a play in that game that just hits. We were talking about that. It hits you right in the head.
Yeah, it looks. I hope it doesn't move. Is my hope.
Right. So let's look at what other games you like, Steve. Any 1:00 game jump out at you?
I'll tell you a team that I didn't fare too well with last Sunday. Are taking on Washington. So you with the line, you'd have to imagine that Daniels is out again. Atlanta's offense looked atrocious against the Panthers on Sunday.
Who was talking about?
I just don't. I don't know. To me, they should be 6.5-point dogs in this game, even at home. So that line's sticking out to me right now. It's probably a sucker bet, kind of like I was a sucker to take the Falcons minus 4.5 on last Sunday. No, the big game is the Eagles Bucks game.
Yeah,
2 undefeated teams. Bucks have just gotten out by the skin of their teeth almost every single week. How about freaking?
Yeah,
I don't know if you guys talked about Aaron Glenn dancing on the sideline.
Yeah, it didn't help his cause, man. Going Arthur Blank over there.
I think the Eagles could probably win that game by a touchdown or more. So I would probably put my money on the Eagles there.
I like the Eagles as well. Mike Evans isn't playing, and so their number one receiver is going to be Ibaka, who is good.
He's also hampered with some injuries too, man.
Yeah, he's got a hip injury. He's very good. But a lot of times a rookie receiver doesn't play as well when a guy like Mike Evans isn't on the field, because all the attention is going to be on him. They haven't really been running the ball well, Tampa, and the Eagles are pretty good against the run. Tampa's secondary, I actually have them ranked pretty high up there. But the reality is the Eagles don't pass until they have to pass. They just don't. They do have linebackers that are good against the run, Tampa. So maybe, but I like the Eagles. They're coming in mostly healthy. Nolan Smith isn't going to play, who's a very good linebacker, very good cover linebacker. But there's just not a lot of players you're going to have to cover. I mean, they're going to be rolling out Sterling Shepard. They're going to be rolling out Cade Otton, Emeka Ibuka, and that's pretty much it. They're going to rely on Rashad White and Bucky Irving drop-off passes. If they get behind against the Eagles,
they'll be in trouble.
I think they are going to be in a little bit of trouble, yeah. I could see that, Eagles started off slow last week. They kind of got lucky with 2 blocked field goals in that game. Because they could have easily have lost. So, I don't like the spread, but I do like the money line.
But you can, if you want, take the money line, or you could drop it down to -2.5.
Yeah, you could
-125. So but I think you know what, we're 3 of us. I like that game too. I just
it's tough to see that not play out the Eagles' way.
Yeah,
look, I got the Sunday, but I have Tampa's defensive line bottom 3 in the league, and some of that's injury
problem. That's going to be a major problem because Barkley's going to be able to just eat. And then you said it best. Hurts. That second half of that Eagles game, the Rams game, he took over. Where leading up to that half, he's kind of just. Status quo and didn't really have to win the game for them.
They don't throw until they have to. And when they have to, they've got an elite receiver in A.J. Brown. They got a guy who's a burner in Devontae Smith. And Dallas Goedert is good. He's sure-handed. He tends to be the beneficiary of those 2 guys getting attention. And Barkley is not a bad, receiver out of the backfield. He's really not. So, I like the Eagles. I actually like that game. I like that game. And Howie, I wouldn't go in at -3.5, but anywhere between money line and 2.5, I like.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'm with you. I mean, that's one we just gave out to you for free. We're all over the Eagles. That'll be a big bet.
Before you jump off of that game, just look at each of their schedules too. Eagles, Dallas, Chiefs, Rams, Bucks, Atlanta, Houston, Jets. We know what we've seen. Houston or Atlanta kind of proved who they were last week. Barely beat them. Beat Houston by 1. Had to another last second drive and field goal to win against the Jets. So. I don't know. The more and more we dive into this one, the more and more I like the Eagles.
No, this was the one I like right out of the gate. I like another game that sort of you might be a little surprised. Okay, so the game that I put the most on was the unders at 1:00 last week. I like Green Bay, Cleveland, and I like Houston, Jacksonville. I still like Cleveland to be a very good defense. That whole 41-17 loss to the Ravens week 2 is sort of an optical illusion. The defense still played well. Like, this defense is very difficult to run against, nearly impossible to run against. And now they're
coming off a big win.
They're coming off a big win, and they dominated a defensive line that is really bad at against the run. But I also think that the Lions' defense is good too. I mean, Ravens can score, and ultimately they did hold the Ravens to 23 points or something?
30, but yes.
30. I mean, but
touchdown.
It was late.
So guys, if you're out there listening to this, what he's trying to do is point you to a little thing we call the under. So he's talking about, he doesn't see a lot of points being scored in this game. 44.5 is a lot too.
It's a lot, and I don't see the Cleveland offense being able to score more than 17 themselves. Not without a pick 6 or the defense doing something for them. They just don't have the ability to score that many points. And Detroit is coming in on the defensive side pretty much healthy, right? And they, like Joseph and Branch in that secondary, very good. They've got Campbell at linebacker, very good. Obviously, Hutchinson's great. They got Reeder on the defensive line. Like, they're healthy on defense. They're actually healthy. And when they needed to get stops against the Ravens, they did. It was Dan Campbell gave away points at the end of that half. Mm-hmm. He really did, and so like I don't think there is going to be a lot of points in this game. I'm gonna we'll see if we got to move that number, but I actually think Cleveland's the best defense in the league.
Well, let me ask you this: going into last week, right? We're taking the results out of it. Going into last week, if I asked you who was the better team, the Packers or the Lions at that point, what would you have said?
Yeah, I think everybody would lean Packers, right?
And that Cleveland defense totally held that Packers
dominated them.
Dominated them.
Absolutely dominated them.
Made you look like a fool. Made you look unbelievable with those unders because you nailed them. I don't know if you're patting yourself on the back, but you should be because you nailed those unders. You didn't need to boost them up.
No, I know. I mean I was probably more upset about that, not needing to boost them. So look, I know Cleveland's offense is terrible, and it's the Cleveland Browns, and sometimes it's hard to give them credit. But if you look at the front seven of Cleveland, as far as the way they've played and the quality of their opponents, I mean, they went back-to-back weeks against the Ravens and the Packers, two teams that are likely to be in the playoffs and have deep runs. And I know they lost 41-17, but a lot of that was the Browns and special teams just giving away points to the Ravens. Mm-hmm. And then they lost to the Bengals with Joe Burrow, 17-16. They were in that game. So, like, they have played quality teams. They have played quality quarterbacks. They have played quality coaches, and they're playing well. They're playing well. Like, Lions are amazing, and that offense can erupt, but I like the under. I do. What amount? I don't know. I'm gonna keep looking at it, and we'll post that on the Discord if we're gonna buy some points here. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, these freaking kickoffs land in the landing zone, because that's like now a freaking factor that we have to like incorporate that I wasn't. There's no data on it, so now I got to look at what these kickers are doing. Does Cleveland's kicker know how to kick the damn ball inside the 15-yard line? Because if he can't, you can't. You put this team, you put the Lions at the 40, you can just put 3 points in the column at a minimum. All right, just put in 3, playing in a dome. So I think like there has to Stefanski's got to be telling his special teams coach, I'm going to freaking fire your ass if you do not get this guy kick the ball where he's supposed to, because we cannot give this team free yards. But I do like that. I do like that one. That's one where I'm going to do some serious in-game betting. If Cleveland is holding the line for a quarter, I might cash out and then just put the money on the Lions to win, because I think the Lions will win that game. But if Cleveland can hold for a quarter, I'd like to cash out 20% net profit, pile it onto the Lions, and ride the game. Like, so keep an eye on our Discord, because we're going to do stuff like that now that we're seeing trends in the NFL after 3 weeks.
You got to join. Go to Whop.com, join the Discord, join for 1 month, $24. Come on. Now listen, before we get into 4 o'clock games, one question, Steve. This is to you. The Chargers are -6.5 going into New York to play the Giants. Jackson Dart is the official starter. Is that going to make a difference, Steve?
Listen, anything, and I know Russell Wilson threw for 450 yards against the Cowboys. The Cowboys defense, has not looked very good this year. As a Giants fan, a lifelong Giants fan, I'm excited for Jackson Dart, but I have zero optimism that they're going to not lose by less than 10 points against the Chargers. The Chargers are a good football team. They're balanced on both sides of the ball. I know they don't have Khalil Mack, but the Giants just some of the stuff Russell Wilson was doing in the red zone, they were in that game. It was a one possession game in the fourth quarter, and Russell Wilson's throwing it out of bounds on first, third, and fourth down. Threw it away. Not even tried to give his receivers a chance. So if Jackson Dart can at least do that, it's an upgrade. Do I have
and
faith
he can
that
run.
they're gonna
And he
beat
can
the
run a little bit. He can run a little bit.
Well, and that's another thing. Russell Wilson, 3-step drop, and then buries himself in the pocket. And we know with that Giants offensive line, they're not creating much of a pocket that you can step up into. So it's going to be an upgrade for sure. But how much of an upgrade? Not against this Chargers team. Not for me.
Yeah,
I
I agree with Steve. He's right. You know, Russell Wilson just can't run this offense other than if he sees a deep ball opportunity, and you only get those on one-on-ones. Otherwise, you don't get them.
He was thrown. He was
you just,
thrown into coverage.
you know, these defensive coordinators know, let's just play a zone.
shut it down.
And because he's not going to pick us apart. And yeah, Dart's not going to come in there and be surgical like Tom Brady, but Russell Wilson, his brain just doesn't. It's muscle memory now. He doesn't look for. It's just throwaways. Steve's right. A lot of throwaways. So, there's one thing I always look at in these matchups off the ranking system I put together is when you have a top 10 or 12 defensive line pass rush and you have a top 10 coverage in the secondary. The Chargers are one of 3 teams in the NFL that has that, which means they get up front rush and they got guys on the back end that can cover, which means you don't have to blitz, which is such an advantage. And it really makes it difficult for wide receivers. And when you only have one star receiver like Malik Neighbors, you can start to shift a lot of coverage to him. And now you got a rookie quarterback. It's a tough – this isn't the game that I would want Dart to start. I would like him to start the next game against the New Orleans Saints. But they're in desperate – these guys are trying to keep their jobs, I assume. This is sort of like, hey, man, like, yeah, we –
you know what, though? And I know he is trying to keep his job. He's not going to keep his job. He will get fired probably before the season ends. But to me, watching Russell Wilson, he just doesn't give you a chance to compete if that's the way he's going to lead that offense with that offensive line. We saw Scatterbo can run the ball. He's gritty. He's tough. I love it, but with the quarterback, with
that quarterback is difficult because Scatterbo also doesn't have breakaway speed.
No,
right?
And they don't have great receivers and great. He doesn't have a lot of guys to go to.
Oh, he's got Malik Neighbors, who's a amazing talent, but you gotta
double teaming him.
You can't be able to run basic schemes and shut down an offense in the NFL. In today's NFL, you can't just play zone and then you can't pass the ball. If that happens, you get 9 points like you did against the Chiefs. I mean, that's what it looks like if you can't beat a zone. But I think it's a tough game. I agree with Steve 100% on this. Like,
I wanted to hear it, and it's tough to disagree.
I don't see I like this game. I'm going to buy a few points, but the Chargers losing this game,
don't see it.
It seems a hard, you need something freakish to happen. Herbert would have to get knocked out of the game. Something weird.
Or the Giants have to figure out that D line that they do have can get penetration without blitzing 2 linebackers.
It's weird because they don't have I forget. I have the snap count somewhere. How often Carter, Thibodeau, and Lawrence and Burns are on the line of scrimmage together, and it's not very often.
It was 8 going into last week.
Eight snaps. That just seemed. I've never coached football, so I don't know, but it just seems like put your fastest, strongest guys on the line of scrimmage more often and scare the crap out of the other team's quarterback and coordinator and get them to feel like they're being rushed.
Pressured.
But if Herbert plays this whole game, is the Broncos defense a lot better or worse than the Giants? No. And given the opportunity, Herbert came back against them, and he's playing well. This whole narrative that they had no receivers is bullshit because Keenan Allen and Johnston and McConkey,
they're solid. The San Diego, LA is definitely solid.
Yeah, man.
Let's look at 4 o'clock. Let's look at one game at 4 o'clock. What's a good game at 4 o'clock?
4 o'clock. Well, we only have a handful of games, right? We got 3 games. I don't love any of them. The one that kind of jumps out again is the Jacksonville Niners. That I could see again being a low-scoring game. A lot of that.
Have nothing.
Yeah, we got to look at the injury report. If Brock Purdy doesn't play, there's just no question I'm taking the under in that game.
Right.
Everything I'm seeing is he's not. I'm hearing that it's 5 weeks. They were.
Yeah, and even if he does, how effective?
Really going to bring?
He hasn't practiced. It's his plant foot. Those are big injuries. Kittle isn't playing, obviously.
Bosa's out on defense, which I wouldn't think is going to accelerate Jacksonville's fine offense with Trevor Lawrence.
He stinks.
Yeah,
he's not improving. He's not improving.
Oh, he hasn't improved. Him and Kyler Murray are kind of the same. I put them in the same sort of disappointment category where you're watching them and you're like, Trevor Lawrence looks like he has an amazing throwing motion and is a big guy, but he can't. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. You got Brian Thomas, you got Travis Hunter, you got Etienne, Tootin, you got the weapons. Diami Brown isn't bad either for a third receiver. You got blocking. You have this defense is balling out. The Jaguars defense I would put as a top 5 defense. If they're playing Mac Jones, I don't like this game for a lot of points. Jacksonville doesn't really move the ball. When I saw the first over-under, I think it was 46.5. I don't know if it's gone down.
It's 47 right now.
That just seems high for 2 teams that are not scoring a lot of points.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you. Mm-hmm. So that's something we're all leaning on. We all kind of like the under there. And speaking of over-unders, guys, I have one play, and I've been following this rivalry for about 40-something years, but Monday night, the Jets are playing at Miami. These teams are 0-6, and I don't know who's going to win. I don't care who's going to win, but guys, the over-under will be above 44.5. These teams will score in weird ways. You're going to see fumble recovery run backs. You're going to see interception run back. You're going to see somebody lose their head and run back. You're going to see points scored. 21 points will be scored on special teams or in weird ways because these 2 teams suck. The quarterbacks suck. The receivers aren't playing worth a shit. But look for Tyreek Hill. This is the kind of game where he'll have 2 touchdowns and 150 yards.
Well, to Howie's point, if you watch the Jets-Tampa game, it was 3rd and 29. 3rd and 29. Sauce Gardner, pass interference.
Yeah.
What were you thinking? What were you
doing?
Sauce
is another guy that's just looks so spectacular his first 2 years. And I think Sauce has had that Manhattan nightlife for 2 years. And he pretty much looks sauced every game he plays in. Because he can't tackle. He doesn't do shit anymore.
This was after 2 straight holding calls on Tampa. All you had to do was give up a 20-yard pass, and they would have punted, and it turned into points for them. And I was like, I can't believe – because I watched that on replay, and I was like, that happened? A 3rd and 29 pass interference for a guy who's been in the league now, 3 years, 4 years?
This will be a game where the Dolphins put up some points. They'll score points in weird ways. You're going to see trick plays. You're going to see, and the Jets will score on a couple weird plays. But I love over 44.5. I love it. I think you might see 50, 60 points scored this game. And these teams are terrible, both of them.
Miami's defense is is just bad. I mean, Miami
and the Jets defense, who's been super the last two, they're beyond bad.
I mean,
all right. Here's how bad they are: 32nd and 28th in the league in points allowed.
Yeah, exactly. Bad. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I've got.
How do you not like the over?
I've got the Miami defensive line ranked last, 32nd. Linebackers 26th. Defensive backs 14th. So they're terrible. And then as pass rush 31st, run D 31st, coverage 22nd. You're in the bottom of everything. Like the defense doesn't do much at all. Like they don't. I got to look at percentage of possessions that have resulted in scores, but I think they're up at like in the 70-something% that when the team gets a ball, it's about a 70% chance they're going to get at least 3 or 7.
And here's a funny stat for you on both sides. Two tails of the tape here. On third down efficiency for the Dolphins offense, first in the league. On their defense, they're 31st in the league. So they can get it on offense, but they can't stop it on defense.
Yeah, I think they'll put up points. I like how he's on that.
I love this over 44.5. I think that could, and I followed both these teams head to head for decades and decades and decades. And this is a perfect spot for this to be just a high-scoring game. Two shitty teams scoring every which way you can. No defense. You're going to see a lot of penalties. The clock's going to stop. And I just see this game going over. But
I mean, we'll leave it for the Discord as well, Howie. Yeah. But I love the Sunday night game. There's a couple plays. Okay. There's a couple I like in that.
So join the Discord if you want Mayhul's take. Which one you like? The Packers boys?
Yeah, that game. There's a couple things I like in there.
Okay, so he's going to give you props, over/unders, game. Look, join the Discord. Go to whop.com. Get on our Discord. It's all we do is we talk about these teams. We talk about the latest injury reports. But you got to get on. We've had a unbelievable 3 weeks going into week 4 with college football. Like I said it earlier on the show when you weren't here, Steve. I said I did 10 units plus 10 units last week. Steve kicked my ass. He was plus 13 units. And we're going to have all kinds of plays this weekend. But look, guys, that's it. Join the Discord. You can't beat this. We got tons of guys on there. We'll be hitting it all weekend live on the Discord. And it's everybody just talking about games. And we tell you when we make a live bet or when we hedge. So that's how we make money. It's all about banking fatties. That's what it is. So that's it, man. You guys got anything else?
That's it.
That's it.
Peace. Let's make some money.